Good morning, everyone. We are live at the slightly earlier time of, well, it was about, it's 9:30-ish instead of 12:30 today. We're recording a bit early because there are some other things going on. So welcome to episode 58 of the Renny Show. I know that was the face I made, Jenny, when I realised it was episode 58. Incredible. So how are you, Jenny?
I'm very excited because, as you say, lots of exciting things are happening. The sun is shining. I've got beautiful blue sky here, so although it's really cold, it's so much more joyous, isn't it, than frost, kind of that grey rain thing. So I'm very excited, very looking forward to today's show, and it's good to be ahead instead of behind.
Yes,
which is my more usual way of being.
Yes, we are. I think we both deserve a pat on the back. We're ahead of ourselves today, which is rather amazing.
Exactly.
Fabulous. Okay, so let's dive straight in. And obviously, people, if you are listening out there, feel free to send us comments. And if there are any questions you want to ask, you can send them in too. So pop us a message or comment under the live stream and we will ask the question. So in the meantime, my first question, potentially starting with quite a big one. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but we'll go with it. We'll see. So I would like to know, what has been the biggest turning point in your career so far?
Oh, do you know, I love that question, and it's quite an easy one. So the biggest turning point for me was realizing that I was completely and utterly in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So it was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
It was my last proper job. I had been headhunted.
Yeah.
So there was an element of ego in there. I had been given a free rein. It was a head of learning and development department, managing, leading quite a few people, and they wanted a upgrade. They wanted creativity. I was given, basically a free hand to create the kind of department. So, in essence, it was the dream job. It was well paid. It was in the big city. It was high profile. It was exciting. It ticked all the boxes. I had a really good team. They were really on board with what we were going to do. We'd kind of done it. It was all of those things. And until it wasn't. And there was a change of leadership, and the free rein was essentially removed. And there was a very firm focus on people just need e-learning. They can do it in their own time. Anyway, I won't bore people with that. And I was creating I still do it, a management, it's a short kind of management course for managers, and it's called Tiamo, and it does it around your first love. So it's that, how do you treating your job like your first love, and we go through what happened, when you first met, your first date, when you decided to commit, what are the promises you made, how to keep the spark alive, all of that. It's a really cool little program. And at the time, we were testing it with the people who helped me develop it. And there was a bit where the third part is keeping promises. And we were doing some work around. So obviously, when you get married, you make commitment, don't you? You both agree, you make the same promises, you've discussed kind of what you're agreeing, what your commitment entails. And I suddenly realized, with a thickening thud, that all the promises that I had been made had been broken. And I remember sitting in this room, with a group of beta testers, thinking, oh, what am I going to do? it, it the contract is broken,
Yeah.
both, physically, and kind of emotionally. And I realized that for all that, your ego gets a good old pounding, doesn't it? And for all the promises, all the dream job, it wasn't any of those things.
Yeah.
um, and I was utterly miserable, because that was the moment when I realized that I was completely in the wrong place.
Yeah.
um, and so that marked the beginning of the end of that job.
Yeah.
And first time in my life ever, um, I was in a situation where I had left one job before getting another. So that bit in films where they walk onto the pavement with their cardboard box, of
Yeah.
their desk, standing in the middle of central London, going, I don't know what's next. But having the most overwhelming and overriding sense of relief that I was no longer in the wrong place. I was in a place, defined pavement with my cardboard box, but then it will be all right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's yeah. I was right there with you when you were describing that.
It was a
It's
profound, yeah. And when
yeah,
when something hits you really strongly, and
yeah,
I remember thinking, I'm going to cry.
yeah,
I'm physically, I'm gonna lose it. And thinking, you're in a room with all these senior people, and probably you can't. Um, but it was such an overwhelming, visceral kind of
yeah,
response.
yeah,
And it was embarrassing for me, because I was like, oh, um, I made the wrong decision.
yeah. But look at what's happened since.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, and I remember it with, as ever, with such fondness, maybe fondness now with a distance,
Yeah,
because of course it taught me about, and I know you feel very strongly about this, is working with people, companies, businesses who share my values.
yeah,
Really important for me. Um, and
absolutely.
I didn't pay enough attention. Bit like first dates, that's why that film was
Yeah,
so good, because you can
yes,
be swept away, can't you, by the, I don't know, the
absolutely.
smart suit, the flashy car, all of those things, that you surface things, and we
Yeah,
don't always have the conversation about what matters.
yeah,
What are the deal breakers? Yeah.
absolutely.
What
Yeah.
about you, Rachel?
Well, I mean, mine was my self belief was on the floor at the time. So I was about 14 years into my Air Force career, and the continuing lack of recognition and career promotion had become all encompassing by that point, and my self belief was on the floor. And there was a particular conversation with, and I've probably talked about this before. I know I've talked about it on socials. There was a really key moment in a conversation with a friend who had been one of my instructors in the early days in the Air Force. So she was by this point she was ex Air Force, and I went for a coffee with her, and she said the immortal words that, well, they're immortalized in my brain. Just remember, it's not personal. And that was absolutely huge for me, and was one of a couple of catalysts for helping me to rationalize things in a way that was better for me and was more true about the situation, because I had basically let my self-belief be taken away. I'd let it go because I was waiting for them to validate me. So that realization that no, I validate me, anything else on top of that is a bonus. It just it was such a big turning point in terms of my personal development journey, learning to really love myself, to start becoming much more self-aware about what was going on, peeling back the layers and working out what I really wanted. It was the catalyst for all of that, and very much has been pivotal in terms of leading me to where I am now. Kath, if you're listening, I will never forget that cup of tea. You could say it changed my life, but for the better. I still stayed in that career because I had 2 or 3 years to run at that point till my pension point. So I was caught in the pension trap. So I stayed. I did still love what I did, but there were obviously issues around it. But the knowledge from that point on till I then did leave the Air Force, the knowledge that what mattered was that I validate me first, it just changed my outlook on everything. And yes, it was still unfortunate that I still didn't get promoted in that last 3 years either. But by that point, my eyes were firmly set to the future and onto what came next. So it didn't affect me so much anymore. So it was a really, really big pivotal moment and changed everything in a really good way. So yeah.
And I think it is really easy, isn't it, to take things. I know my natural way of being is to take things personally first.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have been practicing, very intentional about doing, is not taking things personally.
Yeah.
And when it's a natural way of being, it's hard. It takes practice, doesn't it? And intention. And when sometimes you realize you're in the middle of it and then you have to step out. And I think that ability to kind of remind yourself, it's like a little mantra, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not personal. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, it feels personal. Yes, but if it wasn't, and it isn't, how would I react differently? And
Yeah.
it does, it's a really useful little mantra, isn't it?
Very much, very much. It can really help to reframe things. So yeah.
I know we say it often, and my first question to you kind of segues neatly into this, which I love it because it happens so often and it is completely random. We
Yeah.
never discuss hand on heart, honest engine, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
We never ever ever discuss the questions that they're completely done
Yeah.
by ourselves until we share them live. And my first question for you, Rachel, is kind of always also a bit of a potentially a big one of my favorite questions. And I'm going to sanitize it slightly
Okay.
for public broadcast. But what is it? What really boils your pea?
Okay.
Such a great question, isn't it? I love it.
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Gosh, I mean, there are so many
There might
things.
be more than one thing, so you can choose.
Yeah, there are lots of things. I think because I've always been. When I was young, I was considered naive because I believe the best in people. I always believe. I was once told. Again, I'm sure I've mentioned this before. I was once told the word gullible had been taken out of the dictionary, and my response was, "Oh, why is that?" you know, gullible to the hilt. But I think to a degree, whilst I'm not as naive anymore, that has stayed with me to one degree or another, because I just think, why it does upset me when people are not, how best to describe it, not what they seem. They don't, that their actions and what they tell you are not congruent with the person that they're trying to pretend they are. And for me, I just don't understand why people can't be honest. I mean, there's a difference between wearing a mask and trying to protect yourself from life and the world. But there's a difference to that in terms of essentially lying and having a lack of integrity. That's something that really bothers me. It makes me wonder how on earth do you sleep at night? You've said this on social media, or to my face, or to someone else's face, and yet I know something different, and you're not acting in congruence with that in the way you act behind closed doors. Now, don't get me wrong, not everyone wants to reveal everything they're doing behind closed doors, live and on socials and everything, and that's absolutely personal choice, that's fine. But when the two are so far removed from each other, I just, excuse me, I just think how can they live with that lie all the time? Because that has physical consequences when you're, telling lies in that way. So that really upsets me when people are like that, because I just think it's a choice. You're choosing to be that way, and why would you do that? Because the consequences for you and for everyone, they can't be positive. I don't understand how people can do that. So yeah, that's definitely one of the first things that comes to mind. There are plenty of things. I'm sure it does take a lot. I will say it does take a lot to make me angry. I think assumptions, when people make assumptions, that does really tick me off. I was actually in a taxi a few months ago because I'd had to drop my car off for a repair, and it was across town. So I was in a taxi coming back, and it was an older chap that was driving. And I can't quite remember how the conversation went, but I happened to mention something about the Air Force, and it was about me, as a veteran, as someone who's served in the Air Force. And his immediate response, "Oh, is your husband in the Air Force?" No, well, yes, he is, but actually, I'm talking about me, thank you very much. Just because I'm female doesn't mean I can't have served in the Air Force. And that assumption, that sweeping assumption that, it can't be you, it must be your husband that's in the Air Force, because women don't do that. That boiled my pea quite a lot.
Big time.
Yeah, I was quite upset. Of course, I did the British stiff upper lip thing. I'm like, well, I don't want to upset the taxi driver and get into an argument, so I'll just roll with it. But yeah, that really got my goat. How about you?
Like you, there's a list.
Yeah,
Again, it's not. It takes a lot for me. I think mine is around fairness. So,
yeah,
manners. There's two
yeah,
for me. Manners, saying please and thank you. I'm really happy to. I think I've talked about this before. I'm really happy to let people in. When
yeah.
I'm driving. Um, but I like people to say thank you when I've
Yes,
done it, and if
yes,
they don't, I get really irritated.
yes.
It
Same.
feels like they don't appreciate me.
Yeah,
They appreciate me, but they don't. Um, and the second, which I think there's more of, or is it just me? Maybe you notice it when it makes you cross. Maybe you
mm,
notice it. Is the profligate littering?
yeah,
It drives me absolutely insane when people have chucked um McDonald's bags out the car window
yeah,
as they're going somewhere. It's just rubbish, dropping rubbish, leaving rubbish, going to beaches. There was a lot of it in COVID. People had gone out, they'd taken a picnic, and they
yeah,
just left their stuff. Um, Peeing in public places. If you're a toddler, I get it.
yeah,
When a toddler goes, "Mummy, I need a wee," you have to stop. I get that. Grown
yeah.
grown men peeing in bushes on the side of the road in a park the other day. I was like, boys, what are you doing? Stop it. It's outrageous.
Yeah,
So this lack of consideration
yeah,
for the environment and other people, because I don't want other people's rubbish. I take my rubbish home with me. I don't. If I can't find a bin, I put it in my pocket till I can
Exactly.
find a bin.
Yeah.
And there are lots of bins about. And if there aren't, take it home with you. Don't chuck it out your window for somebody else to clear up. It just, yeah, drives me mad. Definitely more than boiling, probably.
Yes. I must admit,
Um,
if I'm driving along and I see someone throw something out of their car window, in the way of rubbish, I'm sat there going, "What are you doing?" And sort of thinking to myself, what on earth is going through your mind that you think it's okay to just throw your rubbish out of your car window? Ridiculous.
and I don't think there is anything going through the mind. It's just
No.
it's that but it really it boils my pee on so many levels because it's
Yeah.
disrespectful, it's messy, it means that somebody else has got to tidy up your mess.
Yes. Yeah. Which, yeah, wrong on so many levels.
So people, if you're listening, what drives you
Yeah.
nuts? What boils
What
yours?
boils your pee?
We would love to know. I'm sure there's a long list. Bring it on.
We could do a whole show about it. I mean, if
Yeah,
enough people write in,
we
we could do a whole show
could
about
do.
it.
You get the soapbox episode.
Yeah. Oh, love it. We might have to do that. Pauses for thought.
Let's make a note.
Make a note. So, my next question: what is the best compliment you've received? And I'm sure there are many, but is there one that sticks out?
Um, I yes. I think the one that really makes me go, oh, is that I people say it to me often, so I kind of think it must be true. Um, and that's they feel safe. They
Yeah,
say you're really easy to talk to. I could tell you anything,
yeah,
because I know you'll listen and you won't judge. Which when you're a coach is kind of it's like
yeah.
that's the point, kind of, yeah. Um, and I was talking to somebody yesterday who was talking about the difference between coaching and mentoring, and
Yeah.
if you are a teacher, are you automatically do you need to be a coach as well?
Mhm.
And I was like, not necessarily, no.
No.
Because coaching isn't about telling, it's
Yeah.
not mentoring, it's not about it's holding space. So I think for me, the greatest compliment somebody can um, give me is that I they feel that I do that well.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And I can totally, absolutely see why they would say that about you because it's absolutely true. Um,
What about you, Rachel? What about you?
so for me, I mean, I'm very happy to be able to say there's a couple of things, but one that just really sticks out in my memory is when I was doing my coaching diploma. And you know what it's like when you're going through a qualification like that, the things that you share as a cohort, because you are coaching each other, the instructor will be coaching you in front of each other, and you go on this journey together. And the final session of that diploma, I can't remember what he called it now, but he got us all sat in a circle, and it was called a circle of something. Could have been a circle of appreciation or something. I can't quite remember. But the task was to go round the circle, and one person, it would be their turn, and then everyone else would say something, what they think about that person, something complimentary about that person. And through the diploma, I'd shared lots of things like sort of the trials and tribulations of having a husband who was working away from home a lot and how that felt. And I'd shared things about my breakdown, about my crisis of self-belief, which I spoke about earlier. So there had been a lot of things shared that had been very difficult for me, and of course there were tears. And one of the loveliest people I've ever met in my life, called Pippa, said, when it was her turn to say something about me, she said, "You're really resilient." And that just it it floored me at the time because I hadn't particularly considered myself as resilient. Yes, I'd been able to pick myself up after some awful things and, you know, keep calm and carry on and all the rest of it. But to have the external perspective given to me that I was resilient and that had come across in some of the things I talked about, it stayed with me. You know, it makes me a bit emotional to think about it because I loved the people on my coaching diploma. We had a fabulous cohort and it was really, really wonderful and a great course. But hearing that, it's just, yeah, it's always stayed with me and it's very special. So, yeah.
And resilient is a word that's often used more recently, in recent times, to beat people up, isn't it? Or I feel that's my personal thing. And often when, you know, people are really struggling, the answer that they're given or the advice they're given is, well, you just need to be more resilient. So to have you frame it in that way is really powerful.
Yeah, it definitely was. Nice to think about it.
Oh, we love a compliment, and you know, I am intentional about giving compliments, and I think also it's about receiving them, because often when you give somebody a compliment, they kind of bat it back, don't they? Oh, this old thing, or oh no, not me. And actually, my invitation to all our listeners and to anybody who finds receiving compliments difficult, think about the person who is giving that compliment, because when it's a gift, and would you chuck a gift back in somebody's face if it was in a box with a ribbon? Would you throw it back at them and go, nah?
So true.
So actually, the only thing, if you find compliments really tricky to receive, and there are lots of reasons why many of us do, actually all you have to say is thank you.
Yeah. It's really simple, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Thank you. Even if you know you're on the inside, you're going, oh, do they mean it? What, me? Oh, I don't think. And I've had that conversation with both friends and clients around receiving. You know, receiving it's something that we need to be intentional about, and it's really important that we listen to what people are saying. And say thank you. Back to that manners again. Oh, look.
Funny that. But it makes you think, doesn't it? You know, why are we in this position where society seems to tell us that you don't accept compliments? It's almost, you know, it's like we're conditioned as growing up to, that would be arrogant to accept that. So you need to
big-headed.
Yeah. So you bat them away.
You get above yourself. Don't get above your station.
You know?
If somebody says you're beautiful or you look beautiful in that, then actually all you need to do is say thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. It's a nice thing. Accept the gift.
Accept the gift, exactly. And talking of gifts, so my next question, there it is again. So I was slightly horrified because I'm not quite ready, but very excited because I just love it. Obviously, Advent is upon us, lurking very quickly. Monday, I think it's Monday.
It is,
Monday is the first day of Advent, and although I'm not a fan of winter per se, because of the short days and the long dark things, I am a huge fan of sparkly lights. So my question is, how do you celebrate Advent? Those kind of the December, the coming of the end of the year, the winter solstice, Christmas.
So
Divine, you know, whatever celebration you celebrate.
Yeah. Well, I think it's driven by two things in our house. So 1st of December for me is the day the Christmas decorations go up. It doesn't always quite happen that way, but 1st of December, if I haven't got the decorations up, I'm really sad, because I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I just love Christmas lights I've left some lights up in the house over the last few Christmases. I've left some lights up. You know, when you put lights up around the ceiling, you know, where the wall meets the ceiling, and I've left them up because you can put them on in an evening, just any time of year, and it's just really nice. So I just love having all the lights up and the Christmas tree, and you know, I get very excited about putting the tree up. I think it also helps having, well, I say younger children. One of them is 16, nearly 17, but the other is 11 going on 12, and she still gets very excited about Christmas. And the Advent tree, we've got felt Advent trees that come out and they go on the wall, and they've got, you know, little pockets on them for the days of Advent. And I find that really exciting because it's exciting for her. You know what I mean? It's that shared excitement. And again, as I'm sure I probably mentioned last Christmas, 1st of December is also when the kindness elves start to come and visit.
Yes. I love this because Elf on the Shelf is not a thing I love, but I love your version.
Elf on the Shelf was definitely not a thing in our house. But the kindness elves are wonderful because they encourage children to do kind things for other people, and they don't make a mess, which is lovely. And they're just really nice. You know, we've got the storybook that goes with it. There's a whole beautiful story that goes alongside it about kindness, joy, love. You know, all the wonderful, happy and positive things. And so it just feels like a really happy time of year, albeit, you know, there's the inevitable stresses of, oh my goodness, ground rush to Christmas, I'm not prepared, you know, all that stuff. But in terms of Advent and the things that we do in that period of time, yeah, it's a time of year I absolutely love.
Yes. So, can I let you into a secret?
Yes.
So I obviously when I was little, actually even when I wasn't little, my aunt, one of my aunts, used to always send me an advent calendar.
Yeah.
Even when I was a grown up, far beyond the need for advent, she just always used to do it.
Yeah.
And sadly, she's no longer with us. So I haven't really, all my grandchildren have got advent calendars, and I love
Yeah.
talking about it with them. But I was in this wonderful shop that I discovered yesterday, and there was this fabulous advent. What is an advent calendar? And it's a reindeer's antlers,
Ooh.
wooden antlers, and then from the antlers are suspended bags, different coloured fabric bags, all with numbers on. And I was saying to the lady in the shop who I said, isn't that beautiful? It's absolutely beautiful. She said, well, it's for sale. And I said, well, I don't need an advent calendar. She said, I've got it for me. She said, I loved it so much I bought one for myself. And she said, no, I put very specific Hotel Chocolat chocolates in it, and it's just for me. And I said to her, sold. Yeah, absolutely fabulous. Why do we assume that Advent can only be celebrated by children?
Yeah.
And so I thought it was a wonderful. So it was a treat. It was a treat for me. So I've bought myself this Advent calendar, and I'm going to be very excited. I'm going to London today, and there might be a bit of time. So I shall search out a Hotel Chocolat, and I shall just put one little chocolate in each of the bags. And that will bring me great joy too. So it's like, actually, like you say, sometimes the lights, the things that we do, the things that we think are only for children. Actually, they're not only for children.
No, just as much joy for the adults as well.
I know, it's very exciting.
I love it. Okay, right. So my final question for you today, Jenny, is what is your favourite thing about yourself and why?
Oh, my favourite thing about myself. I think my favourite thing about myself, there are quite a few.
Good.
But my favourite thing about myself is it's actually what you said around um, seeing the best in people. And I too have been called, naive,
Yeah.
stupid, gullible, all of those things. But I it's a quality that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that, as you know, people are born brilliant. I think the vast majority of people uh, are are good. I
Yeah.
think good always triumphs over evil, and I love the fact that the more you, on the whole, with the odd exception here and there, um, on the whole, the more you look for good
Yeah.
and positive attributes, the more you find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, although I say it's a double-edged sword, because obviously, I have, been on the receiving end of uh, less positive people in
Yeah.
my life. Um, but I and lots of times people said, well, you see, you always look for the good. And that's like, I do actually, and it's a conscious thing. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that I do it naturally. I'm also proud of the fact that experience of negative, nasty things, which we all encounter from time to time, has not got in the way of me
Yeah.
continuing to do it.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. That's really powerful. Yeah. Um, well, I guess
And
I've
yours?
got to answer it myself now, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I think the thing for me that probably comes to mind first, um, it's actually one of the answers. I think the when you answered about the biggest compliment about being a great listener, um, for me, there's kind of a couple of things that are linked here in terms of me. So being a good listener, because obviously that's a really important skill as a coach,
Mhm.
but it's also a really good skill as a person in relationships with family and with friends. And I think I have a natural, I mean, it's a natural willingness as well as a natural ability, but a natural willingness to want to listen. And that seems to come across to people. And, people describe me as approachable because of it. So, that to me, that's definitely a good thing. And I think that also reads across to some of the things I've been told about how I come across when I'm doing a speaking engagement, for example, or delivering a session. The same thing kind of applies, that I'm approachable in the way that I project the things I'm talking about if I'm speaking publicly, and I think that's all part of the same quality, if you like. Obviously, that's not listening; that's me speaking. But it's um, I'm good at listening, but I think that it also seems to translate into um, other people enjoying listening to me, which is a wonderful compliment to receive, and something that I feel really proud about. It's an amazing thing, and I'd have to actually add in just quickly at the end. I currently have purple hair, so that's a huge favourite thing, because purple's my favourite thing. My
I
favourite
was going
colour.
to say that about when we were talking about compliments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely, but it kind of links to my third question. Who would ever have
Who'd have
thought
thunk
it?
it?
Who'd have thunk it? And my last question is, so I've got new boots on today. I treated myself to a pair of new boots, um,
Exciting.
which is and they're very comfortable, and they're brown, because brown's very in apparently. I'm right on trend. Who knew?
Oh, get you, get
And
you.
brown hasn't been. on trend for ages, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Years. So it's one of my colours. So I love a bit of brown. So I bought my, and it was the joy of getting them out, and that they're leather and they're really beautiful, and they're very soft and they're very comfortable. And I thought, oh, I get such joy out of putting them on and wearing them. So my question is, what is something that you have done or bought or have in your life recently that brings you joy every time you look at it, use it, feel it, whatever?
Love it. Okay, I mean, it's going to seem very, very trivial, but I have the most amazing purple coat. It's one of those sort of puffy coats, so super warm. It's from Long Tall Sally, so the arms, if anything, are actually too long.
This.
Which I never, arms are never too long in clothes, so that's a real treat. So it's lovely and long, but it's purple and it's got some black fake fur around the hood, and it's warm and it's purple, and I just, yeah, even so, because I'm in the office in the garden, so I put my coat on to leave the house to come to the office, and it brought me joy even just to put it on for 30 seconds whilst I walked across the garden. So yeah, it might seem quite trivial, but I really love that coat. It just brings joy.
But I think that's the thing about things that bring you joy,
Yeah,
repeatedly. It can be tiny, tiny, pedestrian, trivial,
yeah,
tiny things. And actually, sometimes when we notice that, I'm that's one of the other things I'm really good at, is noticing. And again, it's intentional, noticing those little things
yeah.
that bring you joy. I have some, um, they're actually baking cooling racks, to put your buns on, cakes and things on. And my mum bought them for me. So they're extra special, but she bought them for me. And there's 3 of them and they stack. So
Yeah.
if you're doing batch baking, for doing
Oh,
your mince pies or whatever it
yeah,
is you're doing, they're really handy. And when she bought them, she said, this is a bit, you might think this is a bit of a boring um, present, but they're so practical. And I love mine, so I bought you some. And we laughed about it. And I said, sometimes when it brings you joy, you want to give
yeah,
it to somebody else to bring them joy. And I think about her every time I use them. And I mean, they're really kind of trivial, pedestrian kind of kitchen equipment, but I
yeah,
love
yeah,
it. I love them because of the person who gave me them, but actually they're really useful and they don't take up, so they go up other than out. You've got the same stuff. So I
fantastic.
think those little things. So
Yeah,
our invitation to everybody who is listening or watching is just to think about, in these next few days before the Advent season is fully upon us, what are the things, those little things that bring you great joy? Because actually they can just be little things, can't they?
yeah,
Sparkly lights,
yeah.
baking equipment, new boots,
A coat.
um, necklace. There's so many things
Yeah,
that bring us joy. So let's think about. And again, back to that thing: the more you look, the more likely you are to find it.
yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
the world could do with a bit more joy in it at the moment, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, another fabulous episode. So if you've been listening, thank you for listening, and keep tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe on all the different channels. We're everywhere, aren't we, Jenny? We're on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube, and we're just all over the shop, yeah. So keep tuning in. We will be back with more shows across December, and we may or may not have a theme or two in mind for those shows. So watch this space for that. But if you've been listening in, thank you very much for listening. And we will be back in 2 weeks' time, won't we, Jenny?
We will, absolutely. Take good care. Carry on being inspirational and brilliant. And we will look forward to seeing you in the next couple of weeks. And if you want to get in touch, you know where to find us.
See you soon, folks.